committed grand theft auto.
Yes, and we succeeded.
Do you think we're gonna get in trouble for that, though?
I don't know, because who was that was following us?
I don't know. We're gonna have to find out. I am Diarra Kilpatrick, and this is Diarra from Detroit, the Aftershow. And I am joined today by my girl, Claudia Logan, and she is back on the couch with me as we dive into all things episode 3.
Episode 3 was simply iconic.
It is.
Like, that's the word.
Simply, we just took Phylicia Rashad, flipped her on her head.
Turned her upside down.
Turned her upside
had her shaking
down.
her booty.
We didn't, well, she described shaking her booty.
Shaking her booty, you know what I'm saying?
But we gave her a gun.
I got a gun pulled out on me by Phylicia Rashad.
You
like,
did.
I thought I could be done with the world at that point.
You
I was
can go
like,
now.
that's it. Put it on my tombstone.
It's not gonna get better.
It doesn't get better.
Okay. So in this episode, Diarra and Moni set out to investigate Deontay's mother.
Yeah.
But we end up getting way more than we bargained for when she takes us along on this crazy joyride.
Joyride, that abandoned van that looks so sketchy already. It was just
Very
insanely
kidnapper,
sketchy.
Very child molester van.
And it's like, as a black woman, would we really do that?
It's giving no. It's giving, this is an adventure. Before we dive in too deep,
Oof.
What was your favorite scene in this episode?
I loved the balance of us getting to know Aja. I think she represents the Detroit woman in a way, one of the Detroit women in a way. So let's just get into the fashion of Aja, because that's why I had to come correct today. I was like, she really murks with that pink dress and that pink fur when her and T are like trying to set something up.
And it's very Detroit. We love a monochromatic look.
What was your favorite scene?
The scene when we're parked in the van with her and we're just waiting. And at first she's super intimidating, and during this scene, she kind of softens up and starts telling a crazy story about who she may or may not have had relations with in the past. But she also said she was friends with all of them, and that's why it kind of tickled her to actually say that. But she was like, I was friends with all of them, and I did ask her because I ask inappropriate questions. That's sort of my toxic trait.
Yes.
I was like, did you sleep with any of them? And she was like, no.
Oh, that's such a Phylicia way of saying
like,
yes.
No. You know, and as my mother always said, class always wins.
Yes.
So I don't think she would tell me, even if she had. Let's jump into the breakdown of this episode.
Yes.
So for me, a lot of this episode is really rooted in the deep friendship between Diarra and Moni.
Yeah.
And even though they don't step to each other like that when they first are reacquainted in the pilot, in this episode, you start to see that their friendship has some kind of deep roots.
Yeah. You know, I ain't gonna lie. This episode, after watching it, made me cry.
Really?
I was like...
At the end, or what part?
I think just seeing those layers peel back as we're, you know, with Vonda in the van and stuff like that. And like, it's small talk, but it's so loaded. And seeing those layers kind of peel back for Diarra and Moni, and then just seeing some type of joy happening in between the two of taking them back to something that they once knew was just so, it felt like a win at the end of the episode. It's like, no, we still know that part of each other.
That shared history.
Yeah.
It's like, there is nothing better. Sometimes,
yeah.
Then having shared history with somebody is so intimate.
Yeah.
And, you know, the episode is called The One That Got Away. And of course, Chris got away.
Right.
Also, the Impala got away.
Yes.
But also, the question is there a friendship sometimes that gets away? And a lot of times we grieve relationships.
Yeah.
There's like, how many love songs about grieving relationships, you know, romantic relationships. But platonic friendships sometimes run their course or change as we grow into adulthood, and we don't necessarily talk about how hard that is as adults. So they get an opportunity to sort of jump in and fix, but it's clear that something ain't right. Like, it's not all love.
It's not all love, but I feel like that's family, though. Like, in ways, or deep relationships of love that could seem, you know, be very close to being unconditional. Like, there was something my friend always said, like, you know, if y'all don't fight, y'all not real. Like, but it's now that I'm older, I kind of get what that means, because then we're not being honest, then we're not being, you know, truthful about how we feel, how we change, and how we want that other partner to change, or the other friend.
Oh, so beyond the friendship element of the episode, we also get into something huge. Trauma.
Baby.
Healing the trauma. That was such a natural segue.
Yeah, it was.
So Danger helps Diarra heal from this trauma. And we talked about this in the writer's room. We were like, can we have her watch somebody get shot in episode 2? This is a regular person. This is not a detective by trade. Like, is she just gonna, as the rest of the episode, just her laying on the couch unable to move because that's traumatizing.
Yes, it is.
But we decided that she needed somebody to make that okay for her and to walk her through some kind of healing process. And of course, Danger seemed like the perfect person to do that.
So you're saying there's some kind of merit badge for seeing some shit?
Not just seeing it, surviving. Last one I got was when my ex-wife tried to strangle me with a phone charger.
Interesting.
Thematically, this relates to Vonda. She's trying to heal her trauma by helping other people.
So, for example, with Danger, right? I think it's so interesting and so smart that Danger, who is the one that is kind of more so the hood dude, or like the guy who is dangerous in the community. Like he robbed the crib, but he is also like taking you through something that could possibly be good for your well-being. I think that it could be possibly because he's seen so much.
I wanted to give him traits that were very specific to me to make sure the character felt multidimensional.
Yes.
He's a meditator. He went to the YouTube University of Spirituality.
Okay.
Like I have been. I have 3 degrees.
Okay, come on, doctorate.
He's into the guided meditations.
Yes.
And that's how he moves through a lot of stuff.
What I really liked is when he took you through it, when it all just looped back around to that car with our younger selves in it.
Yes.
I was like, oh, she thinks this is a happy moment.
Yes. Yeah.
I just really love that.
Yeah, that was her safe place, the car. So we've covered so much already, but I cannot leave y'all hanging without talking about my favorite line from the episode, which comes during the scene where Diarra's crying in the shower. And she says, being a Black woman is so difficult that you can't even take a trauma shower without worrying about getting your hair wet.
So true.
And that was kind of a joke, like an offhanded joke I made in the writer's room, and everybody was like, no, you really have to put that in there. And that is just the thing of like, it is much more difficult for Black women to do pretty much every doggone thing. So, Claudia, are we completely letting Vonda off the hook? Like, do we believe her? Do we feel like she couldn't have been involved?
I don't think I would let her off the hook, but I definitely can humanize her a bit more. She's not some scary figure that was talked about for over 20 years of, doing this terrible thing and finding out what she actually does as a kind of vigilante in a way.
Do we know where we're going from here? Because we've kind of eliminated Vonda as being our prime suspect, basically.
Yeah.
So we have the box. And where do you think we're going from here?
I think we're going down a deeper rabbit hole, but we're on that adrenaline of stealing a car, committing so many crimes in one night. I just think that I'm along for the ride, just like everybody else.
All right, y'all, we have done it again. We have dissected this episode within an inch of its life, giving you all the tools you need to go back in and watch episode 4, and then we'll see you back here on the After Show.